Hello everyone, how's it going? So I want to open up this video with this quote from Don Matrick that basically destroyed Xbox's reputation at the start of 2 generations ago with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. This one line, still to this day, is something that Xbox is suffering from.
And I think people are going to love it, and then they're going to understand what we're trying to create and how it links games and entertainment, the functionality of the box, some of the advantages that you get of having a box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice. And I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it. And fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message. If you don't,
Well, if you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean, seriously, when I read the blogs and thought about who's really the most impacted, there was a person who said, "Hey, I'm on a nuclear sub,"
Right.
And I don't even know what it means to be on a nuclear sub, but I've got to imagine that it's not easy to get an internet connection. It's a great line for games.
So there you have it. This really just destroyed Xbox's reputation. I remember when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out, every retailer would say, we're out of PlayStation 4s, but we have Xbox Ones. No one was buying this console, and it was an inferior console compared to the PlayStation 4. Like, I remember when I saw Final Fantasy 15, I was like, why does this look so poor compared to the PlayStation 4? And the people who were operating the booth at Comic-Con were like, it's Xbox One, it's just not that great. Not to mention, this was kind of Microsoft's plan to have an all-in-one entertainment box rather than a dedicated gaming console, but nevertheless, they lost this generation, they lost last generation. They've been trying to recover their reputation, and for a great deal of effort from Phil Spencer, he did help, but his reputation has also been starting to sour ever since the Game Pass fiasco, which we're going to get into. So recently, I did a video yesterday about how Game Pass was increasing their price again. Like, they increased the console prices again, which is about just ridiculous amounts, from the most expensive model being $800, which is almost a new PC that is superior to the Xbox Series X in every way. So agent hardware is getting more expensive. Everyone's doing this. Sony is doing this. Nintendo is doing this. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And with Game Pass, it was such a disaster that people were basically the website crashed because people just decided, we're fed up with this, we're not paying for this anymore. That's it. And it just kept getting even worse, because after this started to gain traction and everyone started to become aware of this, almost everyone is just like, you can see here, they're like switching to PlayStation because PlayStation is actually cheaper despite the price increases than Xbox, and offers better value. That's just really ironic. I even saw posts of people saying that Nintendo's service is superior to Xbox's service at this point, because, I mean, $30 a month for what? You gain access to day one Xbox exclusives, which rarely happen nowadays because they also release on PC on day one, which, by the way, they didn't mention that the PC increase was happening, and they got community noted on their official Xbox Game Pass Twitter account. So yeah, and for Brazil, it was even worse. Apparently, they got 100% markup price, so it doubled in price in Brazil. So it was absolutely a bloodbath for this service, and I'm just like thinking, you went through all this effort to try and regain your reputation after this horrible outlook on the Xbox One. And look, Dan Matrick did a lot for the gaming community, but he will be known for saying this for the rest of his life when it comes to the gaming community. Same thing for Doug Bowser, when he said the same exact thing about the Nintendo Switch, when he said, hey, if you can't afford Switch 2, get Switch 1. And then they increased the prices of the Switch 1. So it doesn't matter what you've done. What people are going to remember is the most negative quality of what you did. And for him, this is going to be his reputation. And for Phil, unfortunately, this is probably going to be his reputation as well, along with Sarah Bond, which I know it's not coincidence that when she started to take over that everything went to crap, but I felt like she was the Microsoft person who just came and said, make this profitable, because they said they made $5 billion in revenue, but they still do all of this. It's really confusing. Like, the only thing you're saying is that this is not profitable. We purchased too much that we can't not only manage all of this stuff, because they purchased a lot of studios, Activision Blizzard, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, they closed down Tango Gameworks, and they just bought all this stuff that they just weren't ready to manage, and it's becoming a disaster where they're just like increasing the prices. I've heard rumors that they were going to increase this to 25, so they're doing it at 30. It's a conspiracy theory, and then they're going to reduce it down to 25, which I don't think anyone's going to give a damn about that. They're just going to cancel anyway, because at this point, I feel like Xbox is beyond recoverable. Like, their reputation is just sunk at this point, because you took more than a decade to try and recover from that previous statement that destroyed your reputation, that people were still talking about even to this day, because gamers, let's face it, they won't forget shit like this. It's a meme that gamers do forget about the old controversy when it comes to the new controversy, but the Dan Matrick situation was such a rarity. It's like a rare spawn that no one forgets this. Not even Xbox players forget this. And at this point, even Xbox players are just fed up with this, because at this point, you're not paying for exclusives. You're just paying for day one access to these games, and you don't even own the games, because the second you cancel this service, it's gone. So you might as well just buy the games outright, and even then, that's also problematic, because Xbox exclusive games don't usually launch on the disc, like Starfield and Halo Infinite. Like, you have to download the rest of the game through their server, which is another can of worms. Like, I'm not saying Sony doesn't do that. Sony and Nintendo absolutely do this, but at this point, a lot of people are just fed up with this type of system, and they're going to vote with their wallet. Like, there is a certain breaking point where people say this is just not worth it anymore, and it's too expensive, and we're just going to go back to the way things were. Like, there are still companies that sell their stuff on physical disc, and I think a lot more people are going to say, hey, I'd rather buy a hard copy, in this case Doom, or Doom the Dark Ages, Doom Eternal, because with the Doom console there, and just say, I'll buy the game and I'll play that. Like, I'm not going to pay $30 a month for something that I'll gain access to, and then you'll take it away, because it's a lot cheaper to do that now that it costs over $360. You have to remember taxes that come to this stuff. So I think Xbox is just cooked at this point. I think they just don't care anymore, and they're just like, you know what, we'll just put the price out there. Whoever pays for it, pays for it. Because freaking people are paying $1,000 for a handheld console. I don't get it. Like, I really think that they actually short-tamed customers. They just delivered a certain amount of retail space, and they just outsold it because they delivered so little of them, and that's why it's outselling so much. That's my conspiracy theory on it. But it's also a little ridiculous with that thing. I don't know. I don't get the whole handheld console craze when it comes to PC gaming. Like, I don't know. Like, I think the Steam Deck is a great device. I had one before I donated it away. I think it's cool. But if I want to play handheld, I think more people are gravitating towards old Nintendo consoles, even PSP and PS Vita. I see more people like buying modded versions of those handheld consoles and playing like a bunch of games on modded versions of those consoles. Like, right now, I've seen like 3DS, DS consoles going for like $200-$300 at GameStop and even on eBay, because people are just like, hey, these are better consoles, they have better games, they're better quality than modern day gaming, and I can't blame them. Like, I'm replaying my copy of Pokemon Crystal version on my Nintendo 3DS before they can't remove the eShop. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like, these were old games that had a lot more heart to it, and I think people are just tired with the modern day slop. They're tired of just being given crap, being told to pay triple the price at this point, and saying, hey, just enjoy it, consume product, and be excited for the next product. But what happens when people are not excited for the next product anymore? What happens when they say, this just looks like the same game I played 20 years ago or 5 years ago? It just looks like the same thing. Like, Call of Duty is running through that problem right now, which, by the way, I think it's only for the Ultimate tier for $30, because there was a line that said excludes Call of Duty, which makes sense. Like, of course they're going to exclude Call of Duty because it's the biggest moneymaker they have. So I think you only get that with the Ultimate Edition, but I wouldn't be surprised if like a year later they just say, nope, Call of Duty, it's its own thing. If you want the latest game, you're going to have to buy it. You know, they might do that. There are also like rumors that they're going to put ads into the lowest tier of Xbox Game Pass, similar to how Netflix and Amazon operate now, where they put ads into like different tiers of their streaming services. And yeah, it's just getting worse and worse by the day, and the only way you can vote for against this stuff is just say, I'm not buying it. That's it, I'm done. And that's when they start to take notice, and other companies start to try and gain your dollar by offering better services. Competition always breeds better service and benefits for the customer. Either way, tell me what you think in the comments below. I think Xbox is truly cooked, and I really think that they just don't care anymore. I think that they're at the bottom of the barrel, and they're just like, say, fuck it. We ball, we hike up the price, and whatever happens, happens, because that's kind of the way it looks. Because anyone with common sense would look at this and say, this is the dumbest thing you could have possibly done. Like, if it was me, I would have said, okay, one, they should have never allowed day one access to Microsoft published games. They should have done that, never done that. Two, they should have offered a yearly subscription at a discounted price and give people more control over it. Like, I just want online gaming, and even at that point, I'm probably just not going to sub anymore with the expense that it's at. And yeah, I would have just like do whatever you can to just try and cut the measures to make sure that people can have a better deal. But they shot themselves in the foot, and this is the result. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear other people's opinions. Maybe they're not even going to make another console next generation. Maybe Sony might be the only one, and Nintendo. But that's it for me. Like, dislike, your choice. There's also a hit button if you watch on mobile devices, which sends the video out to the algorithm more effectively. But that's it for me. Like, dislike, your choice. Bye.